Hideo Kojima shocked the video game industry during the Game Awards 2022 with the release of the teaser trailer for Death Stranding 2. As with every Kojima trailer, this is packed with Easter eggs and interesting details that I will try to analyze as we go through a full breakdown of the video to try to understand what is going on inside the brilliant mind of the legendary Japanese game creator. I'm Angel for the B-side and welcome to the beginning of my Death Stranding 2 explainer and lore videos here on the channel. If you're a PlayStation fan, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on more great content for this and many of your favorite PlayStation IPs like God of War, Horizon, The Last of Us, and more in the near future. But before we take a deep plunge into the tower, I would recommend you to watch my video on the abandoned factory for Death Stranding 1, because a lot of stuff got revealed during the director's cut of the game that I will be referencing here, so I don't want to spoil anything for you in case you've only played the vanilla version of the game back when it launched. Without further ado, let's jump back and try to connect everything in the Death Stranding 2 teaser trailer. Instead of doing the usual frame-by-frame breakdown, I will be grouping these frames into scenes and go through the three different ones presented in the trailer: Fragile and Lou, the Bloody Mary Gang, and Drawbridge. The first of the three major scenes of the trailer takes place inside what we can assume is Fragile's home, with a cool new version of Bibi's theme interpreted by Troy Baker, voice actor for Higgs in Death Stranding 1, playing in the background, which surely works as a warning for what's to come later. We don't know the exact location of this place, but given the rocky terrain conditions, we can assume he's sitting somewhere in this area, which matches the surroundings we see as Fragile tries to escape. What I don't understand is what Lou is doing with Fragile, because at the end of Death Stranding 1, Sam gave her the cold shoulder by trying to act tough, saying he didn't have a connection with anyone, and Fragile didn't like Lou that much.
You mind? Babysitting sucks.
So maybe he changed his mind after getting Lou out of the baby pod and realizing that raising her as a single parent would be a tough job for one person. But that's just a guess. Also, another very important detail is that Fragile's skin is normal now? Supposedly, Fragile's body should be wrinkled from neck to toe thanks to the traumatic situation while she dealt with the bomb to try to save South Knot City from Peter Engler's gang in Death Stranding 1. We even see some shots of this when she takes her gloves off in several cutscenes in the game, so either she found a way to reverse time or maybe this is just a dream? I don't know, but let's move on. There are a ton of Easter eggs hidden inside Fragile's home, starting with Lou's toys. The first one that appears has some dolphins in it, which is a direct reference to the dolphin BT catcher from the first game. There's also an I Love BB sticker similar to the one of the backpack patches that you can unlock in the game. Very heartwarming. And finally, we have the Bridges logo engraved at the back. I really don't understand why Bridges Corporation would be providing these toys. I mean, it seems weird given the fact that Deadman was the one who gave the idea to Sam to try to free Bibi in the first place, but he also disabled his cufflinks, basically turning him into a rogue porter without any connection to the UCA. Sam finished Death Stranding 1 as a free man, so who is delivering these Bridges toys? I doubt the president, Die Hardman, is happy with Deadman after what he did. I mean, he could be in jail or something worse after going against these executive orders. And by the way, quick shout out to Tommy Earl Jenkins, who was robbed in the Game Awards 2019 for Best Performance. Dude, nothing comes close to the acting on this cutscene. Anyway, on the other hand, Fragile is in a better position with the UCA though, after becoming the first officially approved private delivery company. So maybe someone knew about her new baby and gave them to her? Okay, too much digging for one toy, let's continue. Up next is the Shape Sorter toy with a crab-shaped figure, a direct reference to Sam's speech, and yet another UCA connection with the best vehicle in Death Stranding history, the Cicada MC2000 blurred in the shot. We then skip to this cute shot where we can assume 2 years have gone by since the end of Death Stranding 2, thanks to the small handprints on the wall ruler which, funny enough, are black, a definitely haunting reference to all those handprints left in the suit of Sam after his encounters with BTs. We later see our baby Lou now turn into a big girl being held in the air by Mama Fragile. There's a little bit of foreshadowing here of what is later to come with the cute wings on her back. I see you, sneaky Kojima. And Fragile is now rocking the contemporary hot French mom haircut. Good for her. There's a jump to this shot of Sam's Dreamcatcher hanging from the ceiling. In Death Stranding 1, it used to be hung either in the bottom part of his backpack while he was making deliveries or around his neck, reinforcing the idea that both Fragile and Sam are probably living together to raise Lou. Things start to shake up as someone is forcing its way inside Fragile's home, and we jump to another cool shot full of Easter eggs. Lou's BB pod is now used as a cryptobio tank for the little fellows that Sam used to have in his resting room. The magazine to the right has a pizza ad, which is reminiscent to the pizza delivery mission where we started to connect the dots about Peter Englert and Higgs. A blurry Kojima production stock is featured here at the back, which actually is available for sale at kojimaproductions-store.com. Please use the link in the description down below for a 0% discount on your purchase, because obviously this is not sponsored by Kojima. And finally, far at the back, a like emoji sticker decorates the room. Moving on to the next scene, we see Fragile holding Lou close as we get a wider shot of the room with a cute cryptobiote plush toy, also available at kojimaproductionsstore.com. Fragile then gears up into full badass mama mode and makes her way out using a secret elevator. The interesting thing is we never see the identity of the intruder, but we can assume, thanks to the following shots in the trailer, that it is the Bloody Mary gang, which we will talk about later in the video. As she gets to the surface, we can hear this dialogue.
Baby, don't worry. It's okay.
This is from the exact time when Cliff was talking to BB Sam back when he was trying to escape with him. The reference to this dialogue during the exact moment is utterly fascinating, as both parents try to escape with their babies to safety, and sadly, none of them have a good outcome, with both parents and babies dying. Yes, Fragile dies. Let's take a look at that a little bit closer. Fragile hops on the bike and then tries to get away, but instead gets shot in the arm, falling to the ground while protecting Lou. Quick transition to a Bloody Mary gang member shooting either her or Lou with what seems to be a normal gun, not one of those with rubber bullets. And then, this is where things start to get very confusing. Let's assume that the Bloody Mary guy shots Fragile. The following throat cutscene revealing the baby inside might as well be an indication that Fragile is also a repatriate, and Lou, being a former baby, is helping her to stay alive, sacrificing herself to revive her mom, and then dying right in front of her. Man, I'm getting pretty emotional, and this is the only teaser trailer. Fragile obviously faints after this, and we get a new shot of the BB pod back at Fragile's home, now completely shattered. The cryptobiotes are floating in the air, but these little fellas seem to be a different kind of cryptobiotes, with some funky spikes along their bodies. Something starts to form inside the BB pod, and we see Lou reappearing as a baby ghost or a baby BT inside the pod. After the logo sting and the fade to black transition, we listen again to the phrase that Cliff said to BB Sam.
Baby, don't worry. It's okay.
Now let's jump to the very end of the teaser trailer where Sam is holding BB's pod, now fully repaired, and a bunch of tentacles plop inside the tank as he says his baby's name. It is weird that Lou, who is now dead and now converted to a baby BT, shows these tentacles because this never happened with any other baby BT in Death Stranding 1. Perhaps BT Lou is now a new breed of baby BT, one that has a deeper connection with both worlds thanks to her time spent with Sam and Fragile and eventually being freed from her pod. This symbolically would mean she spent time connected to both the world of the dead and the living. I literally have no idea what crazy Cthulhu explanation Kojima is going to give us for this, but consider me intrigued. After the Drawbridge ship comes out of the tower, we can see Fragile carrying the BB pod as she says this to Sam.
It's time for you to hit the road and start a new journey.
Even when I love Sam's character, I really wish Death Stranding 2 would be all about Fragile, how she manned those mother-daughter issues revealed during the director's cut, and try to do whatever Kojima wants us to do as she travels through America with BT Lou by her side. But what about Sam? well, he can come along too, and we can have a double porter situation here as we progress through the game. And talking about Sam, the whole albino look is a little bit interesting because even when we've seen Sam's hair get grey when the timefall touches it, well, it's hair. It grows again. So this must be a deeper issue or condition, probably related to all of his exposure to chiralium, coming into contact with the BTs, traveling to the beach, and more. Perhaps as a repatriate who can't die, this is the way that his body reacts. But that's just a weird flex from me. Now, it is time to move on to the final scene of the trailer. Don't worry, I'm still going to talk about the Bloody Mary gang, but I want to close the video with them because they seem to be the most important revelation we got out of this trailer. So, let's talk about Drawbridge. It seems that this Drawbridge faction has a deep connection with Fragile, as she says this when Sam emerges from the depths of what seems to be one of Fragile's ships.
Come meet my crew, Sam.
It is possible that Drawbridge is an evolution of her own Fragile Express Corporation, probably after the events of Death Stranding 1, where Fragile Express ends up as the first officially approved private delivery company by the UCA. She may have wanted a fresh start, trying to clean the image of herself and the company by giving it a new identity. The Drawbridge logo is introduced in the last part of the video. This logo, well, is exactly that, a two-piece drawbridge that is raised with 3 lines or strands or whatever they symbolize going through the middle and an arch at the very top. The drawbridge is probably a symbol for the time Bridges, Sam, and Fragile came together to unite America back again. The bridge, well, stands for bridges. The stick, a very easy to break material, is Fragile, and the rope that connects and binds everything together is Sam. I don't know if this arch is meant to be a representation of a rainbow. We know that inverted rainbows are a thing, appearing only when timefall, the deadly time-accelerating rain that happens in the game, occurs anywhere in the world of Death Stranding. But normal rainbows are featured also in the game, especially at the end where Sam is holding Lou after freeing her from the BB pod as they walk out of the incinerator. So perhaps the rainbow, as well as the strands coming together, symbolize the connection and protection that is stated in the words below the logo that read, both stick and rope, to protect and connect together for tomorrow. The Drawbridge ship comes out of what we can assume is the tar belt. Well, we know for sure it's tar because it's black goo, the presence of BTs having found down there, and Sam Fragile crying due to the coral allergies from these BTs. I don't recall if ships were able to travel through tar in Death Stranding 1. We have seen Fragile Express ships out in the sea before, for sure, but doing that in the tar must be a new technology, including the flying capabilities of this monster of a ship, probably developed after these couple of years since the end of Death Stranding 1. There's also a weird Cthulhu logo with the word DHV Magellan clearly visible on the hull of the ship. Not sure if this is a new character in the game or some cool detail for its design. As for who the actual members of Drawbridge are, it's still too soon to draw any conclusions. But perhaps some of them are former members of Peter Engler's team or coffins that fled after Sam confronted them in the abandoned BB research facility, or even members of the UCA that got to know about the data retrieved by Sam and joined Fragile. We still don't know if there's a military background for this Drawbridge faction, but this being a Kojima game, it probably will. But that would mean that Fragile is the head of a military organization, and given her near-present situation where she was raising Lou, this would be improbable. Why repeat the same mistakes as her mother, unless the founding of Drawbridge happens after the Lou incident and this cutscene happens months or even years after the attack by the Bloody Mary gang? One last detail that I want to mention, and I know this is a stretch, but with Kojima you never know, there's that song that Amelie kept singing in Death Stranding 1. The London Bridge one.
London Bridge is falling down.
So I'm not sure if we're going to get bamboozled by the end of Death Stranding 2, and there's going to be a weird connection between Drawbridge and Amelie, but I'll leave that to Kojima. Finally, let's move on with the elephant in the room, the Bloody Mary gang. During the closing segment of the trailer, we hear a mysterious voice that reveals an interesting bit of information.
It wasn't the UCA that made the final decision. It was APAC. a private corporation.
This so-called APAC, a private corporation, is new to the Death Stranding universe. As to who really are the members of APAC, or what even APAC means or stands for, there's a lot of mystery right now. The trailer obviously points to two different groups that may as well be one sole unit. The first one is what I've been calling right now the Bloody Mary Gang, which is the one featured during the opening segment of the trailer, while the Neo Peter Robot Squad is the one at the very end. Let's take a deeper look at both. The opening shot for this scene shows us a figure of a woman with some sort of rays and blocks behind her. Given that this and the whole Bloody Mary Gang and Neo Peter Robot Squad members' outfits and weapons are red, there has to be a very obvious connection with Amelie, the sixth and final extinction entity. I mean, she was a lady in a red dress, and we see a lady represented in this red sculpture with a similar hairdo and facial features. I think this is it. The rays and blocks behind her might as well be wings or an aura and a representation of a city, aka mankind. Or maybe the whole thing stands for the Last Stranding, where Amelie wipes out humanity, which is the event that Sam puts on hold as he makes Amelie reconsider in the last minute, severing their connection to then escape out of her beach just in time. The only thing that I can't explain is this weird pair of circled objects by her neck. I was about to say balls, but that sounds pretty weird. I have no clue what these stand for, so if you have any ideas, be sure to leave them in the comment section down below, and while you're there, give this video a like and subscribe if you're having a good time. The scene continues with a closer shot of the Bloody Mary Gang carrying a coffin. We can see there are a few valves that allow for some of the tar stored inside to leak. My guess is that inside this coffin is the body of Peter Engler, Higgs, which was recovered from the beach somehow by the Bloody Mary Gang. We're not 100% sure if Peter dies or not at the end of Death Stranding 1, given that the game never shows his death and Fragile tells you that she didn't pull the trigger, instead giving him the chance to decide between doing it himself or simply be left stranded on the beach for eternity. Assuming Peter pulled the trigger and Fragile dragged him into the tar again to dispose of his corpse, then maybe the Bloody Mary Gang found a way to get to the beach, recover the body, and store it inside the coffin to escape to wherever this weird desert is located, probably a place between the different beaches connected by the Coral Network, or simply another beach. Funny thing here is that Peter is now inside a coffin, and Fragile's mom, her former leader, was named Coffin, so I don't know if this is a weird connection where Kojima is hinting that maybe Peter is going back to his roots and what Coffin stood for after he got clearly manipulated by Amelie, but I doubt it. Maybe it's just a weird coincidence. Back to the coffin. If Peter is revived somehow by this gang using a weird ritual, it would make all the sense in the world for him to be the one that shoots Fragile during the trailer. This would be the perfect revenge after whatever happened between the two of them at the end of Death Stranding 1. Especially if we take into consideration that the background music during this whole Fragile escape cutscene is his version of the BB theme, and obviously the pizza ad in the magazine inside Fragile's house is another hint. And while we are talking about APAC, there's this weird line of dialogue at the end of the trailer.
It wasn't the UCA that made the final decision. It was APAC, a private corporation.
Whatever the decision this unknown guy is talking about really is, it may be related to the assassination attempt against Lou and Fragile, or maybe they were just in the wrong place and time, and this was an attempt against Sam's life. Maybe his disappearance ruffled some feathers within the UCA and APAC, who might be behind the UCA in some way, and decided to take matters into their own hands. We get a wider shot of the desert and we see the Bloody Mary Gang during this procession, and this gives us a better look at their uniforms. Some of them, I suppose the higher ranking members, hold a staff with the Amelie figurine on top, while the rest are empty-handed. All of them wear heavy red cloaks and a weird backpack. I don't see any wires or connections coming out of them except for this arm that can hold their staff, so I would suppose these are just simple backpacks instead of a BB tank, which is usually fixed in the front, or some sort of breathing device for the harsh environment of the desert. The procession is heading towards this weird arched stone structure that reminds me a lot about some of the structures found inside the oldest house in Control, but that's a different game. To me, this archstone may be some kind of portal that is forming, and maybe this is how the Bloody Mary gang is jumping between these and other beaches to do whatever they're trying to do. We can also see some BTs floating at the back, so I'm not sure if the gang is able to manipulate them or can just ignore them as they are prancing around with this big chunky coffin, but it may point to a high level of dooms within their ranks, probably the ones that hold staff. Now, let's jump to the very end of the trailer. Here we see what we can assume is Higgs, Peter Englert, after being resurrected by the Bloody Mary gang, now being accompanied by his robot squad. Let's start with Peter. I'm assuming that after the events at the end of the Death Stranding and the whole coffin situation, his body has suffered some sort of transformation and now requires this suit to stay alive. I don't know if the BB pod fluid serves a specific purpose other than keeping the organs in place, floating around, but if we take a look at the back of the suit, we can see that the autodreg scanner is directly linked to it. So basically this would mean that this Neo Peter we're seeing in front of us may he actually be a human BB pod. A couple of cool details for Higgs are the quipu around his neck, stolen from Amelie prior to the final fight against Sam, and the red mask, which has some sort of golden Egyptian decoration around his eyes. We have to remember that Peter had a weird fixation with the Egyptians, so having this tiny detail on the mask reinforces that he is the BB pod man we're seeing here. Let's talk about the robo squad at the back. I believe these are some sort of combat robots or maybe mules that have been experimented on and now are some weird half-robot, half-porter breed. Probably Peter is done having humans as part of his closest squad and has decided to trust technology by using these robots. The interesting thing here is that the robots react to the sound of the guitar as he strums a chord. It seems to me that this is the least efficient way to instruct your robot army unless Peter starts to shred some very intense prog metal solos in that thing to turn these into deadly machines. Also, take a look at how their holographic face transforms from regular shapes into an autodreg scanner, reinforcing the theory that maybe they have found a way to advance the technology and make these robots combat ready for the world of the living and the dead. What's Peter's plan? Will he try again to unleash the last Stranding? There's a long road until the release of the game, but I'm pretty sure that it will be worth the wait. And that's it for the trailer breakdown for Death Stranding 2. I hope you liked this video, but I'd love to hear your theories for what is happening here. So please be sure to share them in the comment section down below, subscribe for more Kojima Productions and PlayStation Studios videos, or if you really love my work, consider supporting me via Patreon for free day early access to any video that I publish here in the channel and some other cool perks. But for now, thank you for watching and I'll catch you later on the B-side.